I'm hearing rumors that another pandemic is brewing and it's going to actually be lethal.
This balloon, Chinese balloons that came over, there's no telling what you can drop out of a balloon.
At the border, the Chinese are coming through and they're infected with TB.
They are so insane that they are willing to blow themselves up.
And she was an average woman, and they brought her in and they began to give her a new drug.
Because first of all, they've been programmed.
It turned her brain on and she became more than human. And then at the very end, she turned into a computer.
I had been told from a really good friend of mine who is a nurse that when the people in the medical industry talk about the ventilator as if it's like you said, a pandemic, it's like a plan. They know if they put you on a ventilator, 9 times out of 10, you're not coming out. And they know that. And so my question to you is, and this is my theory, and no, I'm not one of those weird people. I just have a theory. It's called China. I happen to appreciate Donald Trump. What I really do think, it looks like China, as they have always wanted to be the world's only ultimate superpower, is trying to find the best way that they can to eliminate humanity in America so that they can do just that. Doctor, what do you think about the China thing?
China intends to rule the world, and I think this virus is a bioweapon, and it wiped out thousands of their own people, and they don't miss that at all because they got an overpopulation anyway. And it wiped out thousands of people the world over. And so I do think that bioweapon the virus was, and I do believe it originated in China, and I believe they released it on the world. And there are things they could have done very early on. They could have done things to contain this virus, but rather than doing so, they actually put people on airplanes out of Wuhan and sent them all around the world. They could have quarantined Wuhan once they realized it was there and cut down on thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of deaths, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, that's I like that. That's good. And people have to understand, China is just part of this one world deep state. China doesn't act independently. Okay, they use China. Okay, and this is the underbelly, the dark side. Okay, Helva, do we have another person out there with their hand up?
I'm hearing rumors that another pandemic is brewing and it's going to actually be lethal as opposed to just a scare tactic. Do you know anything about that?
I do know that the viruses have been getting more lethal in years past, and that gain of function is a term that most people have heard, but that's exactly what gain of function means. It means that the virus is being made more lethal. And so I think the Chinese have been working on that for a long time for the reasons that I just talked about earlier. As a bioweapon.
Yeah. I think there's going to be another pandemic, but it won't be a virus. It'll be a financial virus. And they'll hit it before the election between 2003, 2024. This whole thing is to take out the truth, okay? If you want to talk about Trump, you can, whatever. But the whole thing is that they don't want you to know the truth. So they'll knock you down at the knees. Thanks for that question, Helva. That's a good one. Okay, Betty, you got your hand up.
Yeah, I'll be quick, but I heard that they're at the border, the Chinese are coming through and they're infected with TB. So they're going to be a mess if we start having TB being spread around.
Do you know anything about that, Doctor?
But I wouldn't put anything past them. I mean, they've made it very clear that they intend to rule the world. And remember, we said, I think earlier today, that the United States is the one country that stands in front of a one world government, or one country that rules the world.
Hey everybody, David here. Now, if you're enjoying the show, would you please consider becoming a monthly partner? Help me bring God's word to a dying world. You know, they need to hear the truth. And your donation will help do that. Please text the word chosen to 91999, or go to davidheavener.tv/give, or call 844-806-0006. God bless you.
So I think they're after us in every way possible, and I fear for a nuclear war, but I fear more for the biological warfare. And this balloon, Chinese balloons that came over, there's no telling what you can drop out of a balloon.
Mhm.
All kind of bioweapons can be dropped out of balloons that go all the way across the United States. That
That's
was a
right.
test.
Yep.
That was a
Yep.
test to see how far they could get. And the fact of the matter is they got that balloon all the way across the country. And the Biden administration didn't take that balloon down until it already had crossed into the Atlantic Ocean. Then they shot it down.
Hi, Doctor. Just a quick observation. You know, with everybody, being really upset about some sort of super virus and so a real super killer, why would they do that if the power of the bee would be susceptible as well, and they would all die unless they know something we don't?
Right. I've always
That's all.
said that. Why the enemy will never blow up the ship in which they're sailing.
Correct.
Yeah. Let me touch on that. Okay. This whole thing has been orchestrated since way back when. Okay. Don't think for a moment they don't have their own protocol. Don't think for a moment they don't have their own place they're going to be. And I always tell people, if you want to be, and we're talking in the flesh, carnal, not spiritual, but if you want to be safe, just look and see where the Antichrist is operating and where he's settled and nestled, because he's not going to blow up his own planet. Okay. So that is a very good point. That is a very good point. Now, that's in the natural. Okay. That's carnal. That's not where we are. We're in the spiritual. We are where God wants us to be. Okay. That's one side. The other side of it is when you get to the point of where they are, Denise, they are insane. When you ever watch these movies where the bad guy will just pull the pin out of a grenade and blow himself up, laughing, thinking, he's winning. They are so insane that they are willing to blow themselves up along with everybody else. Why? Because first of all, they've been programmed. Okay, they're programmed, and we're talking spiritually, by the underbelly, the Luciferian government, the dark side. That's who's programming, and we talk about program multiples a lot. But that's a real good question, Doctor. Do you have anything to say on that before I take the next hand raise here?
Yeah, I do. I want to mention we've talked about Luciferianism, and that's something that a lot of people really don't understand what that means. And it's not necessarily the worship of Satan, but it's broader than that, and it means transhumanism. Transhumanism. And if you really want to see the overall plan, go back and watch a movie entitled Lucy. Interestingly, Lucy for Lucifer. Scarlett Johansson starred in this movie, and she was an average woman, and they brought her in and they began to give her a new drug, and she literally, it turned her brain on and she became more than human, and then at the very end she turned into a computer. And so
Wow.
if you look at that and think about, this is transhumanism. That's exactly what they're trying to do. The artificial intelligence is part of that. They're going to take away our ability to think. We don't have to think because they're going to think for us. But just like those computers that count votes can be programmed to count votes as you want them to count them, right. Artificial intelligence means who's programming the machine or the computer and giving you what they think are the facts. And so you've mentioned this many times, and I think it's the obsession with truth. If you want to know what can we do to fight this all off, it's the obsession for truth, and you're doing that. We're doing that here tonight. I'm revealing some things, guys, that I have witnessed personally, and that I have seen my colleagues witness and their practices. This is not theory. Nothing that I have talked about in terms of the way this pandemic or pandemic was managed or treated is theory, because you can document virtually everything that I've said. And I'm taking a risk. Listen, I understand. I'm taking a risk, but as I said earlier, we're all warriors in this, and the cowards retreat from the battle. The warriors, the heroes, charge into battle. And I think that's what we're doing here by bringing all this out. We're all warriors, and we're charging into this the battle for truth.
Folks, you will be silenced because they do not, the deep state, the Antichrist does not want you and I to tell the truth. So what did Jesus do when he was silenced? And he was censored, silenced, he was killed. But when he was censored in the church, he went to the people. He carried his message to the synagogue. They didn't want to hear it. Some listened, but the Pharisees ridiculed him, put him down, came against him. So he took it to the people. And then he went to this small group, the disciples. And that's exactly what we do on davidheavener.tv, folks. In these last days, in these last times, we take it to our people. Matter of fact, Spencer, I want you to go to davidheavener.tv. This is what we are doing when we get knocked off and we are not able to say what we need to say. Go to davidheavener.tv. I want you to look at this. It's got 20 channels of truth. The first one is the live stream channel. By the way, we have a 24/7 channel now. You can watch it 24/7, continuous. And as of next week, we will have live television. Okay, I want you to go sign up right now, davidheavener.tv. We got the Spotlight channel. You can see we got John B. Wells, What Will Happen to America, right here. Witches cast a spell on Kavanaugh and Christianity. That's what when I covered Tucker Carlson covering the witches coming against Kavanaugh. So you need to go, you can watch on Spotlight channel. We got the New Release channel, the Most Watched channel, Spiritual Warfare Training channel, Alien Demon Connection channel, Mind Control, Originals, Anxious Depressed, The Coming Holocaust, Bible Study channel. It just goes on and on, folks. Listen, I want you to go sign up right now, davidheavener.tv.